Unlocking the front lever can be a challenging task for many, but if you want to get yours from this to this, then this video is for you, because I'll be going through a step-by-step guide teaching you the secrets and the techniques that I used along the way to reach the level that I currently am. To start, I'll use this first part to explain the how and why I select certain exercises, and why I select those over others. But if this isn't interesting to you, and you just want to see the exercises I recommend and workouts that I give, feel free to jump into the nothing to the advanced section of the video. Although I obviously would recommend you to watch the entire video. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, starting by talking about muscle contractions. There's two ways you can contract your muscles. Isometrically, meaning the length of the primary muscles you're using isn't changing at all, and isotonically, which is when it does. We will be using both ways. Why? Simply because the isotonic ones will be helping us on gaining the strength, endurance, and hypertrophy aspects of the movement, while the isometric one will be helping us on gaining the strength specifically for the position that we'll be holding it at. Because the strength improvements on the isometric holds are greater, but they are only useful if we intend to use that same position that we hold. Luckily, that's exactly our case. Our muscles contract through a complicated system starting from our brain and going to the end part of the contraction itself. I obviously won't go into detail in this part. All that matters here is that for our front lever to be the best version it can be, doing only weighted pull-ups simply won't cut it. And no, doing hopeless holds one after another won't cut it either. It sure helps, but it's like playing with half of the hand you're dealt. It doesn't make sense, you know? We need to increase both the duration that our nerves can keep our muscles unnerved, as well as our ability and our control to contract and to shorten our muscles, which is why we combine both aspects into one. I've been doing calisthenics for a little more than 2.5 years now, and what I found out that works best for me is like you saw at the beginning of the video. I believe it to be known as combos or combinations or whatever you want to call it, but the idea here is to combine the front lever hold with front lever pull-ups or a touch or easier progressions or whatever you can think of that includes skills. The idea here is to make a random combination, and you want to perform it for the longest duration possible, starting from the hardest exercises and skills and increasing the intensity along the way. I also believe that for the majority of it, keeping a clean form will be preferable, but losing the form along the way is also okay. And yes, it's possible to be horizontal in the air with bad form. How? Well, let's take a look. In this clip that I'm about to show you, you can see a front lever being performed with proper technique and proper form. And I know some may disagree with me when it comes to perfect form and proper technique, you know, it's a free sport, do as you wish. But in my perspective, when going for a perfect form front lever, you'll have to have arms straight, scapulas depressed and retracted, core and glutes engaged due to a posterior pelvic tilt, legs straight, and maybe feet pointing forward. And I say maybe because, in my opinion, having the feet pointing upwards looks kinda goofy, but it won't make the position any easier or any harder, so yeah, it doesn't make a difference. Some athletes defend that if you have your feet pointing forward, it helps to keep your legs straight as well to have a better body tension, but you saw me perform it, I honestly don't feel a difference at all, at least on the front lever. If you do a pull-up with the feet pointing forward, I feel a slight help actually, but just for the front lever, I don't feel a difference, so yeah, I'll keep it on the goofy part. I do not include a false grip as a criteria on the front lever because that will make the angle which our arms make with our bodies smaller, making the front lever harder, which is not necessary if you're going just for the front lever hold. Although, if you intend to add harder skills on the future, like the pull-ups and the touch for example, I would recommend you to use it as a criteria, but just after you unlock the front lever. Another tip that I can give you to make the hold easier is when you're holding the front lever, you want to look at the bar and not at your feet. But anyway, if all of those points are checked out, we have a perfect front lever hold. And if you're questioning about any of those points, here's a front lever being performed without each point. As you can see, it can still be done, and if we think about it, that can also become something useful for us in the future. How? Well, since some of those make the position easier or harder depending if we're doing them or not, we can actually use that to our advantage while performing our combos. For example, What I do if I'm no longer able to perform a perfect front lever pull-up is that I do one without retracting my scapulas as much and with a slight swing from the legs. It will still be a front lever pull-up, and although it won't be completely clean and totally correct, it's still there. And that's the idea, to start from perfection and then decrease the intensity along the way. Something that I learned from Valentin from OTZ when I started working out on skills is that form equals intensity, and if we're no longer able to maintain a certain form, we can decrease it as intensity so that we can keep performing the combo, thus improving our strength and endurance on the long run. And endurance will also be something that we want to improve, because when we want to hold, let's say, 30 or 40 seconds of front lever and perform, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 front lever pull-ups, it's no longer a strength issue, that becomes an endurance issue. So we overpass this problem by training it all together. We start our workouts with those combos so we can improve our strength and endurance, and then when it has passed, let's say, 1.5 hours of the workout, we can start improving our weaker points. If you're interested in knowing, my weak point is the scapular retraction, but if you have a weaker bicep, or both biceps are weak, or you have a weaker core, just focus on that. The idea here is to improve our weaker points so that our front lever improves. One last thing that I want to say before finishing this section is that it's different to work on a high bar than it is on a low bar. On a high bar, it can be difficult to work with bands and weights, and it's not as easy to improve on the front lever. So if you truly want to improve on the front lever, get yourself a low bar, because that's game changing. So, to summarize this section, because it was a lot of information. The best way to improve our front lever is to combine isometric and isotonic movements at the same time. Accept the fact that to improve, imperfect technique can be useful and it's most likely necessary, although proper technique is still encouraged. False grip will make the front lever harder, but it will be useful when moving forward. Form equals intensity, so if you can't maintain a certain intensity, decrease it as necessary. To improve our front lever, endurance is as necessary as strength. Improving our strength and our weak points will result in endurance gains. Recognize your weak points and work on them at the end of the workout. And finally, if you can, get yourself a low bar to work with. Now that we have some key points, we can start structuring our workouts. And to do that, I'll divide the progress into 3 sections. Phase 1 will be for people between nothing and the advanced stuck front lever. The phase 2 for people between the advanced stuck and the full, and the phase 3 will be for people who want to improve the full. In terms of the organization of the workouts, there's a million ways you can organize your workouts. All of them will get you the same results if done correctly, of course. What I'm going to do is describe a simple blueprint for an optimal week and an optimal workout, incorporating the front lever that most of you can follow if you like. For volume, 3 to 4 days is enough. Don't overdo it, because that will just result in your body not having enough time to recover after each workout, and that will most likely result in some sort of unnecessary injury. In terms of the workout itself, 1.5 to 2 hours should be more than enough, at least it is for me. You can do more, you can do less, depending on how much free time you have and how much time you want to dedicate to each workout, but again, the time frame is more than enough. Now, about the session itself. Remember to start your workouts with a proper warm-up, which should start with some exercise to increase your heart rate, and that can be some jogging, maybe jumping rope, or just walking to the place that you want to work out if you're working outside. Then warm up your shoulders, wrists, elbows with rotations, and light activations with light bands. If you're an advanced athlete who's able to perform very hard skills and very hard sets, I'd also suggest to incorporate some sort of very light exercises of what you're going to do. For example, instead of starting with like straight up front lever pull-ups, you can do maybe some advanced stuck front lever pull-ups, or just a few seconds of an advanced stuck hold. The idea here is to start with a low to medium intensity so that your body doesn't jump from no pressure at all to an insane amount of pressure in just a snap. Then there's the actual workout. The workout should start with the hardest exercises and end with the easier ones. If you're combining weightlifting or some sort of resistance training with weights and intend to isolate a certain muscle group, leave that to the end as well. If you intend to combine more skills with the front lever, like for example the planche or iron cross, there's a few ways you can do that. And the two ways that I currently believe to be the most effective to do that is, first, you can either combine them in the same set, or you can dedicate each set for each skill and you alternate between them. What I mean by this is you can start with the front lever, then the next set it will be for planche or the other skill, and then front lever again, and then planche, and so on. After the workout is done, you can give those muscles a stretch and you should be good to go. If you're going for static stretches like I usually do, 2 sets of 30-second holds at the end of each workout should be enough. Okay, now we can start selecting the actual exercises that we're going to do in our workouts. Remember that the workouts that I'll be giving will be suggestions, and since that I'm not working one-to-one here and can work with the needs of every single person, the workouts, to be the most effective they can be, will most likely need to be changed and should be changed and modeled specifically for you, which is exactly what I'm trying to teach you here. Something that you should have in mind when going for these skills is to progress from now on, meaning that when you increase the difficulty, the form may not be completely correct, and that's fine. When we start chasing something new, it's never perfect on the first few times, and it's the same principle here. Start it, then improve it, then increase the difficulty, and repeat the cycle. With that being said, let's start by going from nothing to the advanced step front lever. If you're in this first phase, you probably can't do a lot of pull-ups, so the most important thing in this first phase will be to strengthen our pull-up with the help of bands and weights. What I want you to do to make sure that it's worth to start working on the front lever is to try to hold any of these positions for 10 to 15 seconds and see which one is more comfortable to you. The first one is the hanging scapular hold. The second one is the tug front lever with bed form. The third one is the clean tug front lever. The fourth is the one leg advanced tug front lever. And the fifth is the advanced tug front lever. If you find yourself getting stuck either on the hanging scapular hold or the tug lever with bed form, just ignore the front lever for now, it's not worth it. What you want to do instead is to use the next 2 months to work strictly on your pull-ups. If you're in question on how to do so, I have a ton of free workouts that you can check at my Instagram. Just go to my Instagram page at @PedroLobesWeight, check the workout examples highlight, and look for the pull workout for completely beginners. You can do that workout 2 to 4 times a week with at least a day of separation between those workouts, and you should be good to go. If you're not in this group, however, and you find yourself getting stuck on the clean tug front lever or beyond, we can actually start work on the front lever. Although we'll start to add more exercises specifically for the front on this first phase, I believe that it's more beneficial for you if you still keep the majority of the workout to improve your pull-up technique, strength, and endurance. Remember that the front lever will be mainly lat strength, so yeah, improving your pull-ups will also improve your front lever. With that being said, a workout that I can recommend for this first phase is this. The isometric hold at the beginning should be the hardest to perform and will be the one exercise that will improve the hold the most. When you're able to hold 15 seconds comfortably in a progression, pass into the next one until you're able to reach around 12 comfortable seconds on the advanced tug. Then you can pass into the next phase. The clean tug raises and negatives into the position is to start the mix between isometric and isotonic movements, which will greatly improve the endurance of the hold because you're not just holding it for a few seconds, you're elongating the time of the set into 30, 45 or more seconds, and by doing so, your endurance will end up improving more than just doing a hold for a few seconds. This is not an easy exercise, trust me. The reps should be just a few on the first few weeks, and over time, begin to improve as your strength and endurance improves. Banded pull-ups is simply the GOAT in terms of pulling exercises for beginners in calisthenics, so it obviously had to be there. For the fourth exercise, we have negative pull-ups. Those will increase your control throughout the whole pull-up movement, and it's honestly one of my favorite exercises for beginners as well, so I had to put it there. And finally, for our last exercise, we have bicep curls, because throughout the whole workout, we targeted a lot of the lats and upper back muscles, and for the biceps to not fall off, we'll target them at the end. If you prefer a bodyweight exercise, you can do chin-ups, and you can and should use a band if you need to. If you already progressed so far and don't need a band, you can also take it off as well. Passing on to the phase 2. The progressions in this phase will be: number 1, halfway, one leg front lever hold. Number 2, one leg front lever hold. Number 3, halfway full front lever hold. And 4th, the full front lever hold. If you prefer, you can also incorporate a straddle front lever instead of the one leg, but I actually prefer one leg, so yeah, I go with that. Now, about the workout itself. On this second phase, the pull-up should already be pretty easy. You can probably do a few muscle-ups with weights, I don't know. But now, we'll actually start to target more the horizontal position instead of the vertical. I believe that going with front lever from start to end is useful, don't get me wrong, but we're just not there yet. With that being said, the workout for this second phase will be this. Since we've already got the advanced tuck, another thing we can do to increase our strength in the position is trying to make our body touch the bar in the position, then descend from the bar and keep the same front lever progression. Then, after a 3 to 5 second hold, we decrease the intensity and keep combining the front with raises so we can last longer. We're not just holding it now, we can do that after, now that we're stronger, and focus on movements that will start to improve our endurance. If advanced tuck is too easy, you can start with a harder progression. The second exercise will be a banded full front lever because we not only need the strength, we also need to understand the position. And I know it looks easy, but for us to be in a proper line, we need to learn it. It's not just being strong in the position, we need to understand it, correct it, and perfect it. This exercise should be done with a light band of 15 kilos max. If you can't do it yet, you can use an easy progression. The third exercise is inverted rows, but we want to do them in a way that we're no longer pulling the bar into our chest, we now start to pull the bar lower around our belly button. When we go into a front lever pull-up, our center of mass will be just below our belly button, and if we don't start to learn this pulling movement now, it will take longer in the future, because you'll be pulling your body up, but only the upper part of it, creating a wave kind of with your body. It's not easy, so start just below the chest and go lower and lower as you get stronger. The fourth exercise will be weighted pull-ups for the same reason as before. It's always great and it's actually one of the GOAT exercises in calisthenics. And fifth are the weighted chin-ups because we need our strong, healthy biceps to keep that way. Now we move into the final phase, which is the phase 3, and this is honestly the phase that I find to be the most enjoyable because we can combine multiple skills into a single set and it just works, you know. And why is that? Because to progress now, we don't need specific exercises that target the front lever anymore. We can simply add harder skills and target harder skills like the front lever pull-up, touch, Victorian, SAT, because they're all done in the same horizontal position, but they're harder because we have less leverage. We actually improve on the front lever, kind of like as a side effect. So, something we can do now is to simply create. At the beginning of every workout, you imagine a combination of exercises and skills that you believe that you can perform, and you simply go after it. Some days you'll get it, some days you won't, and that's the beauty of it. Because even if you fail and it's close, you can actually try it again either on the next set or on the next workout and just go with the flow. You can actually use it to test yourself and see if you're on a good day or not, and increase, decrease, or maintain the same intensity. The idea here is to keep pushing the boundary of what we believe to be our limit. Go after harder skills, longer sets, and all the new things that you want to try now. That's the secret. So, the workout example for this third phase will be this. The random front lever combo at the start will be to have fun, do what you want, understand how you're feeling that day, and to go from there. You can do more of these and less of the others if you prefer, but when I started with 2 because that was what I was able to do. Then I'd lose all stamina to keep doing more, so yeah, we keep it on 2 sets for now. I usually have 3 distinct days for this one, just so I have some idea of what I want to do in a specific day. One where I focus on strength and endurance combined, meaning that I start the combos with very hard skills that I'm close on getting or that I want to get, or I simply add weights to the ones that I already have. One specifically for endurance, meaning that I want to elongate my combos as much as possible with the skills that I already have. I will even sometimes add a band to help me mid-combo so that I can perform longer. And one where I try to focus more on the form and don't really focus as much on the endurance aspect, just so that my form doesn't go completely rogue. Remember, it can be acceptable to lose form mid-combo so that we're able to last longer on it if our goal is to increase strength and or endurance. After that, we have a banded touch hold, descend into front lever and perform the max amount of pull-ups that you can. Again, combining both skills into one and finishing with a burner to teach our body the technique and improve our strength and endurance. Third is the banded front lever hold for 5 seconds into max pull-ups to mainly increase endurance. Then we have weighted front lever holds. This is to start to make the position feel lighter when we perform it with only our body weight. Trust me, when you take the ankle weights off, the position starts to feel a whole lot lighter, improving our strength and endurance without us even realizing it. The 5th and 6th exercises will be to work on our weaker points. Since mine are the retraction of the scapulas, as I said before, I included them for reference. The advanced tuck touch will teach us to keep the scapulas protracted during the touch, otherwise our back will look like a turtle shell and it won't feel right. And the advanced tuck scapular retractions will make us have a stronger retraction, as well as make us feel the difference between having them retracted and not. And there you have it. 3 distinct workouts that you can model throughout your whole journey. Remember that there's different ways after unlocking it, rather than simply creating a new combo and different combination every single workout, but that's for another video. What was more important to me though was to teach you and make you understand that it's not as complicated as it may seem. I believe that most athletes, when they want to start going after skills, they start lost. At least I did. So I truly hope that you found this video helpful in any way. If you did, it would mean a lot to me if you could like, share and subscribe. You can also leave a comment with a critique, suggestion or opinion so I can produce better content in the future. My socials are all in the description, so you can check them as well. And remember, this journey can take a lot of months and probably years to complete, so be patient and don't rush. It's more important to start than to finish. Have a great day.